First time I heard Liszt was as a kid growing up in Harlem. I heard the music primarily in an odd way. I heard it through Tom and Jerry cartoons. Those cartoons sort of introduced classical music and Franz Liszt in particular to me. And it's a shame that Franz Liszt is only known to most Americans and Westerners through a cartoon, when in fact the volume of his music is 1,000 times that size and 1,000 times better. There's a great deal of his music that is rarely performed, rarely recorded, and here in the bicentenary of his birth, I hope through this documentary that we can take a look at that incredible body of music and that incredible life that influenced 3 centuries of artists and political figures. Liszt is such a curious figure of any century. I think part of his celebrity has to do with the fact that his music was flamboyant. It was a music that cut across national boundaries. He was ethnic Hungarian, essentially achieved his celebrity as a Frenchman, learned French, spent the bulk of his middle years as a German artist in Weimar, became an abbé, a priest in Italy, in Rome. This is the man who not only thought in broad brush terms, but he lived in broad brush terms. It was the life of a man who involved himself not just with other composers, but with writers, a man who involved himself with politicians. He knew all 6 popes of the 19th century intimately. He knew every king, queen, duke, and duchess of Europe between 1811 and his death in 1886. There are stories and recollections of Liszt being met at the train depot by crowds of 1,000 who serenaded him to his hotel, of his performing a piano recital and women swooning as he played, men challenging him to duels. This was a man who knew his time, who in a sense knew media long before the 20th century. Not only did he perform and compose a very flamboyant and virtuosic music, but he sold it, leaving gloves on the piano for women to fight over after his concert, performing with his profile to the right and after intermission performing with his profile to the left. Liszt wrote about how he felt. He wrote about what he saw. He wrote about where he traveled. He wrote about the women he loved. He wrote about his children. He wrote music that expressed what the modern 20th century person thinks about it, their world and their impressions of the world. That this was the life of the first international musician who, for the 19th century, was tantamount to Michael Jackson in the 20th. We hope this film reflects some of the dynamism of his life, the fact that he was indeed an international musician, born ethnic Hungarian, learned French, conducted in Germany, and traveled through Russia. A man who was quite literally a rock star of the 19th century. And it's incumbent upon those of us who love his music to make sure that those of us who don't know his music get a better understanding during the bicentenary.
Bravo!